On this video, I am going to explain you the basics of boxing in detail. I have divided this video into 4 parts. In the first part, I am going to explain you the proper boxing stance. In the second part, I am going to teach you the 4 main punches used in boxing. In the third part, I am going to teach you the boxing defense. And in the fourth and the last part, I am going to teach you the movement, that is the boxing footwork. So this video is a complete package for you. Make sure you stick till the end and don't miss any part of the video. Let's get started. For the proper boxing stance, stand with your non-dominant foot at front and dominant foot in the back with a line in between. One foot on the one side of the line and the other foot on the other side of the line. You should have a bit loose knees. Make sure your knees are not stiff or too bent like this. Your hips should be a little bit turned so that you provide less area to your opponent to hit you. Your hands should be up, elbows tucked to block those body shots. Your dominant hand should be close to the chin and your non-dominant hand should be out here a little bit. Make sure your chin is tucked and keep your eyes forward. So this is the proper fight stance for you. Your weight is evenly distributed and you can easily punch with this stance. Now let's talk about the punches. There are 4 main punches in boxing. The first punch is called the jab and it's the most important punch in boxing. To throw the proper jab, you have to keep these tips in your mind. The first tip is fully extend your lead hand all the way out and all the way back. The second tip is involve a bit of hip rotation while throwing that jab to add power in your jab. The third tip is take a step forward with your front foot while throwing that jab. When you take a step forward, your body weight is behind the punch and you are going to get way more power in your jab. And the fourth tip is when you throw that jab, make sure your chin is tucked behind your left shoulder. Now keeping all these tips in your mind, that's how a perfect jab looks like. The second punch is called the cross. It's a power punch thrown with your dominant hand. To throw a perfect cross, you have to keep these tips in your mind. The first one is the same. Fully extend your dominant hand all the way out and all the way back. It should be in a straight path. The second tip is the most important one. You have to perform 3 important rotations. The first one is that shoulder rotation. The second one is that hip rotation. And the third one is that foot rotation. If you perform these 3 rotations simultaneously, you will get the knockout power in this punch. The third tip is stay relaxed and exhale with that punch. Boom or make that noise that most of the boxers make. And the fourth tip is also the same. While throwing that right cross, make sure your chin is tucked behind your right shoulder. Now keeping all these tips in your mind and performing those 3 rotations, that's how a perfect cross looks like. The third main punch is called the hook. The first 2 punches are the straight punches while the hook is a circular punch. It's a short range weapon, means we use hook when our opponent is really close to us. Now to throw the proper hook, you have to perform those 3 same rotations. But first of all, let me tell you something. Lift your elbow and create a 90-degree angle between your forearm and bicep and turn your shoulder around. So those 3 same rotations are the shoulder rotation, the second one that hip rotation, and the third one is pivot on your front foot, that is that foot rotation. That's how a perfect hook looks like. The fourth main punch is called the uppercut. It's also a short range weapon and it's a deadly punch. To throw the perfect uppercut, first get a bit low. We get a bit low to take energy from the ground and then come up with a punch right in front of our face. That's how a perfect uppercut looks like. Get low, boom, just like this. Make sure to rotate your hip because that rotation of the hip is going to add the knockout power in this punch. Just like this. See again. Boom. We got 3 ranges of the uppercut. The first one is the short range, the second one is the mid range, and the third one is the long range that I personally don't like. So these 4 are the main punches used in boxing. Now let's talk about defense. Everybody can punch, but only elite fighters know how to defend themselves. Now I am going to teach you some of the best defensive moves. The first defensive move is called the slip. This defensive move is helpful against the straight punches. How to slip a punch? Drop your shoulder towards the opposite knee, just like this. We can slip towards our right and we can slip towards our left. The second defensive move is called the roll. This defensive move is helpful against the hooks, that is the circular punches. Now that's how we roll a punch. Down, round and up. Down, round and up. You have to make that U shape. Now there are some very common mistakes that most of the boxers make while rolling a punch. Make sure you avoid all those mistakes, like just moving the neck. You have to bend your knees while rolling a punch. The second one is looking on the floor. A very common mistake. You have to keep your eyes on your opponent while rolling a punch. And the third mistake is dropping the hands while rolling a punch. Keep your hands up while rolling a punch. Just like this. Another great defensive move is a step back. It's the easiest and the most effective defensive move. When you step back, you are out of that danger zone. Another defensive move is the lean back. This defensive move is used by elite fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Floyd Mayweather. When you lean back, you get out of the way of the punches, whether those are the straight punches or the circular punches like hooks. Another most commonly used method is blocking the punches. But you have to understand the right method to block punches. Keep your hands up here on the sides, and if the straight punch comes, you can easily parry them. So these 5 are the best defensive moves, that are blocking, leaning back, stepping back, slipping or rolling the punches. Now the last topic that we are going to talk about is the footwork, the most important aspect in boxing. Now you have learned how to punch with proper technique, but that works if your opponent is stationary. He is not moving, you are not moving. But in fights it doesn't work like that. So you need to learn how to punch while moving. Now remember one thing, same foot and same side. If you want to move forward, step first with your front foot and your back foot will follow it. If you want to move towards back, step first with your back foot and your front foot will follow it. Same is the case for that side to side movement. If you want to move towards left, step first with your left foot and your right foot will follow it. And if you want to move towards your right, step first with your right foot and your left foot will follow it. And when you step, punch. For instance, if I step with my left foot, I will have to throw that left hand. If I step with my right foot, I have to throw that right hand. If I want to move towards left, left foot first and left hand first. Right foot and right hand. Towards right, right foot and right hand, and then left foot and left hand. In this way we can punch moving forward as well as backwards. Now see. Make sure your punch and foot lands at the exact same time, because if you step then punch, by the time you stepped into range you are going to get punched in the face. So yes guys, these are the basics of boxing. I hope you get this video. I hope you liked this video. Guys, you can also subscribe my YouTube channel where I upload lots of boxing education videos just for you guys. See you soon in the coming video.